This is Ann Hunter Logue. It's July 2nd, 2023, and I'm here with Cindy Parsons. I've known Cindy, golly, quite a number of years, over 10, I think. I don't even remember, when I was getting certification in Healing Touch, and Cindy was the facilitator for that. And it was interesting how our relationship sort of started. So when I was doing Healing Touch and I was doing energy work, it would seem like my whole environment was so huge. I could just feel the energy. It was such a big thing. And then when I tried to condense it into words to put into my description for my different, what I can't even think what I'm talking about here. I'm so sorry. When I was trying to do it for my certification, I didn't use language that was what they were looking for. And so Cindy and I had to work through some of those things as part of our relationship, as part of my growing path. And I just appreciate so much that Cindy, was able to get on the same page and understand what was happening so she could guide me through that. And since then, Cindy has gone into a much more expanded role. She's taken on the energy medicine specialist format that was started by a friend of hers and also of mine, Jana Moll. And so tell us about what you're up to these days. I know you've just gone into such further depth, and what are you up to these days?
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. And yes, it's been nice knowing you, and it has been really interesting to watch our friendship grow. And I do appreciate you in my life also. So with me, I started in Healing Touch over 10 years ago, hurried through the program because I was just drawn to it and drawn through it. And since then, I got my certification in 2015, I believe it was. Had just continued to grow, continued to take classes in various different modalities. And I did work with Jana Moll. She's the owner and founder of Energy Medicine Specialist, and she developed coursework that was beyond what you find in most foundational coursework. And so I was able to help her as she began developing her own program from the very basics to the advanced. Jana passed away last July. She was an instructor, but I was going to be her instructor also. And so a lot of what she was doing has fallen to me. And that's what I've been doing, is working on Energy Medicine Specialist and helping build up that program, because right before Jana passed, we were just getting ready to launch the basic class had already been launched, but the more advanced work was just starting to launch 2 new classes that we had developed together. And so we have now launched those, got them out there, and I'm getting ready to teach some of the advanced work that Jana has taught for years. So it's been a real exciting year this past year, not only grieving the passing of my friend, but also helping with her business and moving her business forward. So it's been real challenging, but exciting.
But also it's so interesting when somebody passes, and sometimes, like, this is the way that I perceive it a lot of times, is sometimes their role is better facilitated from another vantage point. And so they are taken to another place where they can help us in a different way. I mean, it's hard for us that are left behind to manage all those feelings that we have, the emotions of losing somebody that we love. But I know she's still with you, because look at all the work that you're doing together, I'm sure. And so I know the work that you do with Energy Medicine Specialist is also technique based. So could you explain a little bit of what that is? Is it kind of like a Reiki? Is it like a healing touch? How can you explain that?
Healing touch on steroids, maybe?
Okay, that's way cool.
Healing Touch is a great foundation, and that's what it was foundational work. And so some of the techniques have been fine-tuned from there, but then there's been a lot of added depth to it. The techniques that we now use are much more advanced, based on scientific principles. In the second, we have tiers to EMS. There's the foundational, functional, then advanced. And even in the foundational classes, ET2A and ET2B, we have over 25 different techniques that we use on healing from the inside out, healing from the outside in, depending on what's going on with our clients, and helping people understand where to start as a practitioner, where to start, what techniques to choose first and why, because it's so important to know the why behind why you're doing what you're doing. With 25 techniques to choose from, you do need to understand where to start. And so that's part of what we teach in EMS, is not only just the techniques, but where to start with this and why. So it's really helping the practitioner be a practitioner. So it's not just doing the work for yourself, but also helping teach you to be the best practitioner that you can be.
So when you say you're working from the inside out, are you like based on physical problems, or are you trying to go deeper into the spiritual, emotional, like a past life kind of place, or any and all, or how does it work? Like, people come to you, I'm sure, for all different kinds of reasons. And so do you start with the thing that they're presenting to you, or do you try to go deeper in your intuition and understand what it is you need to work on?
A great question. And yes, both. But usually, especially the first time I'm seeing somebody, I want to know why they're there. Are they there because of physical issues? Are they there because of emotional issues, mental issues, or spiritual?
They're
And
all intertwined though, right?
they really
You
are.
really take them apart, right?
It's very hard. And so it's into the advanced work that Jana has done. She actually has a chart that when you do the assessment, you are measuring the 7 chakras, the 7 fields, and we're measuring the hara, we're measuring meridians. So I'm doing assessments on 70 some different points, which again, I have a chart, and based on the subjective data I receive from my client, the objective data I gather in visiting with my client with the intake, and then with my assessment on using this chart, it helps me just recognize the pattern that the person has, and that helps me decide where to start with them. We all need balance, and so most techniques do provide balance, but how much does that of the balance do they need? Do they need work with their chakras? Are their chakras missing? Are they out of place? And we have those techniques to help get the chakras back where they need to be, get the body back into balance, work with the hara system. You know, does the hara have some blockages going on that we need to work with? There's a lot of trauma release or trauma work.
Maybe you could explain what the hara is to those that are not familiar with that, because I only learned about that through Healing Touch. So a lot of energy medicine doesn't necessarily talk to the hara. If you could explain that, maybe.
Sure. We all come from our own star out in the universe, from all that is. Some people name it God, some people name it the universe. It's whatever you choose to name it for your own personal being, the divine, but it comes from all that is, and that's our matrix, all that is. And from that matrix, it's just like a transformer. All of a sudden, we bring that from the hydroelectric plant, we're going to bring that electricity out to our city here, so that becomes our hara, that line coming from all that is, where we're gathering all that electricity or all that energy. And each one of us has this hara line that comes down, and it's just a column of energy that flows through us, through our crown, all through our body, through our feet, and it connects to a beautiful crystal in the center of Mother Earth. So again, it's just a huge column of energy that is in place, and from there we receive our love that we need. We receive it's our karma, it's our contracts for being here on Earth, and that's kind of what the hara is. From the hara, it's a vibrational light, and as vibration becomes more dense, it tamps down, and then our chakras are formed. Our chakras are energy centers inside our energy field. And then as that light becomes more dense, it develops the meridians, which is the rivers of energy flowing through our organs and through our body, kind of connecting us all together. And then as that energy continues to become more and more dense, we become a physical body of light. We're actually always moving, even though it looks like we're solid, we feel like we're solid. We're actually just very dense light. And that's kind of in a nutshell how we work.
Yeah, and I think that's also like understanding that kind of system helps you to understand that as you're trying to work through these different levels, either the hara, the chakras, the meridians, those are just layers of all those things. And so when we have trauma or we have some kind of conflict, then it brings in a layer of blockage or, you know, something that isn't in alignment. And so that's what the energy work is able to help with. It's able to just diffuse that, just release it. And so then you don't have that interfering with your normal activity.
Correct.
That's why it's so beautiful, because it's not, it doesn't require surgery. It doesn't require intervention of any kind. It's really a gentle, beautiful process that is really just basically growth and regeneration for our soul being that we have, that we are.
Correct. Correct. It
Beautiful.
is beautiful, beautiful work. And it really is all about balance with everybody. It's just getting people back, and people want to heal themselves. And so we work with them. It's not me doing something for somebody else. I'm working with my client to decide exactly what they want. And then the tools that I have learned, the skills that I have learned helps me assess and decide how best to provide this treatment for them. But they're the ones getting the messages. I get intuitive messages also, but I set them up before we ever start the treatment for them to also receive those intuitive messages, because intuition is a learned skill. And so I try and teach that to my clients so that they can also tap into intuitive messages. So many times they're like, can you tell me what you saw? What was your intuition? And it's like, I can tell you what I saw, but I want to know what you saw. I want to know what you heard. I want to know what you've opened up to. So it truly is helping them open up their intuitive skills. So we're not just working on the physical. We are working, as you say, on the physical, the emotional, mental, and the spiritual. And it's teaching. It's always teaching when you're with your clients to help them expand their energetic knowledge base also.
It's just beautiful. It really is. So, I mean, how many levels of classes or sessions do you offer? So you were talking about like beginning, middle, advanced. Do you offer beyond that? I mean, and how long a session, when you do the initial evaluation or talk with somebody, how long do you spend with them to try to determine what's happening?
Usually we talk for about 30-45 minutes, and then the treatment itself is about 30 minutes long. And
Okay.
then a 15-minute follow-up, basically. So the first time is about an hour and a half. After that's usually about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. And I do see people on a consistent basis, because the more they learn about themselves, the better they become. I receive treatments on a regular basis with friends. We do trades, because we're people here on earth. We're always pulled out of balance from various things that are going on. And yes, I can do my own work, which I do, but it's also nice to receive once in a while. And so for my clients, I've got some clients that like to be seen once every 2 weeks. Others are once a month or once a quarter, depending on what's going on in their lives. If they're doing really well, they're like, I'm doing really well. I'll call you when I need you. And that's awesome. And then I've got one client that likes to be seen every 2 weeks. We have just a set pattern, a set time set up, because it works best for her. And we just continue making sure she's in balance, because she's has a lot going on, and that just helps her find her. And
I think especially when people are going through challenging times, or if they have a loss of some kind, either, a loved one or a job or a home or whatever, then it's really beneficial to have that extra support and to learn how to, facilitate that for yourself as well. I mean, these are, like you said, it's learning, it's lessons as well. So you're able to teach them as they get stronger. So then, eventually they can help themselves a little bit more. It's just a beautiful process. I love it. So
yes.
that's cool. And so I think I know you just had a past class that I missed. Was in May, was it not?
Yes.
I think it was in May. And when do you offer the next one?
So the online class, there's an online class for the very first one, for the to just see what EMS is. And it's a strong class. You learn a couple of techniques with it, but also the ethics, the boundaries, the professionalism of being a practitioner, the structure and self-care, because that is the most important part. And we also need to use ethics when we are working with our clients. From there, we have ET2A, we have a class coming up in August in Colorado. And that's where we have over 20 techniques in that one. And that's a lot of science with that technique. And we do this technique because of this may be going on with the client. So really the practitioner starts to put together, if they come with this may be the best technique for them. The next class is an ET2B, and that class is really more getting back to our roots as a practitioner. Why was this course, why did you get into being a practitioner? What is there about an energy practitioner? And really takes the healer back to our roots. So we talk a lot about the indigenous cultures in that one. So it's a fascinating class. I've got an upcoming class in 2 weeks on pendulum, advanced pendulum use. Again, learning how to use your pendulum to help drill down to find out what's going on with your client and to help choose the best treatment for them. So a lot of information there. We've got a class coming up on energy medicine and surgery, putting packet together of someone who may be undergoing surgery, and teaching the practitioner how to develop that packet and how to help their client prepare for surgery before, during, and after. We have a communication class coming up, which is absolutely beautiful. We learned several different techniques in there. We learned the energetic, or the language of energy. And we learned different methods of communication, listening. We practice listening with one another. Then in October and November, I have a class on advanced chakra diagnosis, which again, that's that chart that I use that really helps me decide how to treat a person. And then the Master Hara class is working with the Hara, going to the root of the trauma and helping with that. And I'm in the process of writing a new class for meridians. That was something that Jana had not completed yet. And she sent me something through the email the other day. It just showed up and it's like, oh, Jana, thank you so much. But it got my juices going. So I am
Oh, fabulous.
class on meridians right now. So that's
Oh,
where I'm
that's
at right now.
fabulous.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
fabulous. Well, I mean, you have so much to offer. So, as if someone is interested in contacting you, how would I best send them to you, through EMS or through your website or through your email, or how would you like people to contact you?
Email is usually the easiest. Sometimes through the website, it goes through another person first. So
Okay.
if you email me directly, it's EMS, that's as in energy medicine surgery. So EMS.CindyParsons, CindyParsons.com. And of course, if you go to energymedicinespecialist.com, and if you put a contact, choose the contact message there, that will also get to me. So either way works best for me.
That's fabulous. Well, thank you so much for spending this time with me, Cindy. I mean, I love the work that you're doing. I think it's just wonderful. I want to bring this out to more people and have our whole community healed through this kind of really beautiful energy. And thank you for what you're doing for the world. And thank you for sharing it with me today. So
Thank you very
I'll
much.
see you
I
soon.
appreciate
Okay. All right. Take good care now.
it. Okay. Bye.